Where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. God has given us unlimited treasures in His Word. Every time we open it, we can discover a new treasure or admire an old one. What will we find today? Here's Carla Early with Treasure Hunt in the Word.
We may not often think about it, but each of the Psalms in our Bible used to be sung by Jewish people. Certain Psalms were sung at certain festivals, like we sing Joy to the World and Silent Night at Christmas. But I'm sure most of them could be heard floating out of the windows of Jewish homes as women cooked dinner, much like the way my mother sang as she worked around the house. Or floating out of synagogues on the Sabbath as the Jews met to worship, as we sing from our hymn book at church. They would have been psalms that Jesus grew up hearing and singing. Because we don't speak Hebrew, and the tunes of the Psalms have gotten lost over the years, we only see and study them as Hebrew poetry. But sometimes we do sing them. If you read through the Psalms, you'd find yourself humming many hymns from our modern hymn books or popular Christian songs from the radio. But this one that I've picked today, you may not know. It's called Blessed is the Man. I've included a link for you to listen to it. But it's pretty much word for word Psalm 1, which is one of my favorite Psalms and introduces the whole book of Psalms. I blocked out a whole week so we can camp on this Psalm for a while and do some extra digging for treasures. Let me start out by reading the short Psalm to you. Blessed is the man who walks not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor stands in the path of sinners, nor sits in the seat of the scornful. But his delight is in the law of the Lord, and in his law he meditates day and night. He shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water that bring forth its fruit in its season, whose leaf also shall not wither, and whatever he does shall prosper. The ungodly are not so, but are like chaff which the wind drives away. Therefore the ungodly shall not stand in the judgment, nor sinners in the congregation of the righteous. For the Lord knows the way of the righteous, but the way of the ungodly shall perish. The psalmist says, "Oh, the blessings of the man who does not do 3 things, but instead does 2 things." The 3 things he warns us against involves thinking, acting, and becoming. First, a blessed man does not walk in the counsel of the ungodly. In other words, he doesn't follow the advice of the world. He doesn't hang out in ungodly places with ungodly people. He doesn't go along with them or go with the flow. Then it says he doesn't stand in the way of sinners. He doesn't stand up for or uphold worldly lifestyles that go against God's word. He doesn't imitate their ways or become a servant to them. Third, a blessed man does not sit in the seat of the scornful. He doesn't embrace the world's values, perspectives, or worldviews. He doesn't get comfortable with them. He lives in the world, but is not of the world. One commentator I read says a godly man doesn't abide in the world, flirt with it, marry it, cohabitate with it, or even cuddle up to it. The verbs used in this verse, walk, stand, and sit, show a progressive downward spiral. This person who is not blessed does these things and is therefore traveling in the opposite direction of a blessing. As an analogy, think of someone who loves to shop but doesn't have any money. That person has no business even going to a mall for a walk. Because if she did, and I say she because it's usually women who are shopaholics, she would say, "I'm just window shopping." But she'd end up stopping in front of a store, standing there, looking at things she has no business buying, and then she'd end up going in and buying something she didn't need on credit. It wouldn't make her happier or be a blessing in her life because she would be stuck with a debt. That's only one example of this psalm. What kind of sin pulls you in the opposite direction of a blessing? How could you keep from following that downward spiral into it?
You can contact us at treasurehuntintheword@gmail.com. We'd love to hear the treasures God has given you through His Word. You can listen to other episodes on our website, which you can find in the description below. Thank you for listening, and remember, where your treasure is, there will your heart be also.